Okay.
Hey everybody,
Hi, y'all.
welcome to Robin and
Reyes.
Amazing Race. So, we are coming to you guys with a weekly episode to share two diamonds journeys in our company, Plexus Worldwide. The purpose of us really creating this channel is to be a source of light, hope, and inspiration to anyone who is wanting to build a successful and sustainable home based business. And through this vehicle, create a life that you always imagined.
And y'all, we also hope to add value by sharing weekly tips and trainings and helping people in your sphere of influence achieve true wellness in the four pillars of health.
So, with that being said, today we are going to discuss with you how the fortune is in the follow up. Okay. So, in last week's episode, Ray and I just kind of broke down our journeys. We talked about kind of the backdrop of how I got started with Plexus. She shared how she got started with Plexus and what her life was like before Plexus. And so we want to kind of carry through that story. We didn't really give a lot of details on how Rhea decided to say yes and why she decided to say yes. And so we're going to share with you just kind of the ins and outs of this 4-year journey of me getting Rhea to say yes. Okay. So, like I said in the previous episode, it wasn't until I got to be almost an Emerald Ambassador that I really learned this idea of the type of people that you should be looking for to do business with you. Like, I didn't start for the business, I started for the product. So in my mind, I was just sharing the products casually with people, posting about it on social media, and people would decide if they wanted to get healthier and they would come to me, or I would go to them and they would sign up, and then that was great. But I learned early on in the business that if you want to build a sustainable business, duplication has to occur. Okay. And what duplication is essentially you are recreating yourself. You're duplicating your efforts, but someone else is doing the things that you're teaching them to do in the business. And that's really how you build a sustainable income with Plexus. Okay. So it's all fine and good for you to go get a bunch of customers, a bunch of people that want to get healthier. That's great. That's obviously the core of what we do. But in order for you to build a residual income that can last for years to come, you have to find people that want to lock arms with you and work the business. Okay. So I really didn't understand that until kind of later on. Okay. And I really didn't know, I wasn't skilled enough in network marketing because this was new to me, who and the type of people that I should be looking for. So when I figured that out, that's what I was saying in the previous episode. Rhea was like the first person that was at the top of my list. She had all of these amazing characteristics. She was fun, she was beautiful, she was smart, she was well connected, she was positive, she was already on social media posting about lots of different things. She was a bright light. And so I knew that, and I knew she had been successful in other careers. She was a stay-at-home mom at the time, but I knew that she was driven. I knew her backdrop. We went to college together. So that's why she was at the top of my list. Okay. And there was something in me that kept saying, okay, I need to keep reaching out to her because honest to goodness, Rhea, you gave me a billion reasons to not keep reaching out to you. Okay. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And no harm, no foul, like it all ends well, right?
I'm so
But,
thankful you did not give up.
so what we're going to do is we're going to share kind of my initial reach outs with Rhea. And one thing that I think you have to walk away from is the number 87. Okay. So when Rhea hit her 1-year anniversary on July 15th, 2020, it was her 1-year anniversary. She was like literally 10 days from going diamond, which was bananas. And so I was just reflecting on this being her 1-year Plexiversary. We call it Plexiversary. And I wrote up this post and I was thinking, wow, like, what if I had stopped reaching out to you? Like, what if I had stopped reaching out to you? So before we go into the details of that, why don't you tell everybody what would have been if I had stopped reaching out to you, Rhea?
Gosh, y'all. I think about that often. I think about a lot. What would have happened had you stopped reaching out to me? What would have happened had I not said, okay, I'm going to do this? But I wouldn't have even gotten to that point if you had not been persistent, Robin, and not giving up. And I thank you so much because we we have, I'm, like Robin said, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but like actually like a lot of stay-at-home moms that I know, we're not always stay-at-home by choice, right? We're not always stay-at-home because, oh, our husbands are balling out of control and we don't, we don't have to work. I became a stay-at-home mom because my oldest daughter had a lot of chronic health issues, and she's had 8 major surgeries. She had it just she needed a lot of intervention, especially early on. And so that's why I started staying at home. And we now have 3 kids. And we eventually, moved to Texas. And one of the reasons was for Texas Children's Hospital. And they've done wonders for her. She's doing amazing now. But we have a lot of healthcare bills from Texas Children's Hospital. And I actually tried to go back to work for a hot second, y'all. And because we needed a second income, especially with my daughter's healthcare bills and just, life, we needed a second income. And so I went back to work, and my husband worked it out where he was not traveling as much. And so his hours cut down. He was more so contract at the time, and he wasn't traveling as much. So he wasn't making as much. And we made the decision for me to go back to work. In that time, y'all, he was kind of, in the afternoon, he was like the Mr. Mom, right? A stay-at-home dad part-time in the afternoon when school was over. And that's when my daughter would be at all of her outpatient rehab, her physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, feeding therapy, because she still was not chewing and swallowing solid foods. She had been on a feeding tube for a while. So y'all, in that 4 months that I went back to work, she missed so many specialist appointments. I mean, they were constantly calling me like, hey, you had a specialist appointment. And I would tell, I love my husband. He is amazing. And I hate to say, oh, he's a hands-on dad, because all dads should be hands-on. I hate to say like, oh, he's so involved in his kids' family. He's a dad. Of course, you better be involved in his kids. Like, he is, hands-on. So I hate saying it like that, because the expectation should be that. But he's absolutely amazing. But it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot, because we had a preschooler at the time also. And then I am commuting. I had an hour commute. It took me about an hour to get to work and about an hour and a half to get home, at like hour and 45 minutes. And that was all in Houston. It was all in the same city. Okay. To get home. So I would leave before they woke up. I'd come home and they would be asleep. So he was working. Anywho, she missed several specialist appointments. She kept missing her physical therapies. And once you miss 2 physical therapies without letting them know, they'll take you off out of the schedule. So, and then my other one, we put her in preschool. That was her first time in preschool when I decided to go back to work. She got burned on the hand in culinary class. So I don't know why they had a 3-year-old by a hot plate. And this is it's supposed to be like the best preschool. And she got bitten on the cheek another day. Anyways, I'm saying to say, y'all, I give a lot of details. You're going to learn that. By the 3rd or 4th month, I was like, we were like, we can't do this. It's just not working out. It's not best for our family. My oldest daughter, who, has some development struggles also, challenges, she was regressing. So at that 4 months, we're like, okay, this is not working. We're just going to have to go back to tight budgeting and, no family trips, and that's fine. We're just going to have to figure it out. So I went back to being a stay-at-home mom, and I'm sharing all this because we were not living an extravagant life. I never went shopping. I don't, we just weren't living like extravagant, right? We weren't like going on a lot of trips and this and that. And still, everyone loves some extra income, and everyone needs some extra income. I don't care who you are, you need some extra income, even if we weren't in this position. So anywho, then my daughter had this really big surgery, one of her major surgeries, and the out-of-pocket expense, y'all, was like $15,000. I'm gonna get real specific. Anywho, all the adding up, the healthcare bills, and just really wanting to not just survive life but wanting to enjoy life, right? And not just survive, but actually thrive and do things. And I was a fitness instructor, and to bring in the income that I needed to bring in, I mean, I was like teaching a ton of classes, y'all, a ton of classes, and it was exhausting. It was, I love teaching, but it was exhausting because it would be in the evenings because I wasn't with my kids during the day. So I would be teaching like every evening. And especially when we had our third child. So I'm teaching 3 and 4 classes in the evenings and leaving my family. And I wanted to be back home with my family in the evenings. Right. And then I was teaching 4 classes on Saturday mornings. And hey, that's when soccer was happening and basketball and gymnastics. And I was missing all this stuff. So I'm doing what I enjoy teaching, fitness instruction, but I was missing out on things and I needed more income. I needed more income than my fitness instruction was bringing me. So bring in Robin, introduce Robin. And now, our healthcare bills are paid off. We are have putting in away for really, really good savings. We're looking to move in the next year or two because we live in Texas and we want to move on more land. And just things that we had envisioned for ourselves are actually coming to fruition. And we're enjoying each other. We're enjoying life. And even through coronavirus, y'all, we've had no anxiety financially. My business has thrived through this COVID situation. And so I think about where I would be. I don't know where we would be now. We would be stressed out. I would look about 10 years older because Plexus is also helping me age backwards. And, we would be, even as if I have my master's degree, my husband is an MBA in finance. He's a CFO, we even the, hardworking, educated people, we still, would not be where we want to be. And it just feels so good at this point. It just feels really good. So I guess that's the long version, huh, Robin? I can talk, girl.
Oh, girl, that's okay. I was just pulling up some of these screenshots that I want to share in just a bit. So I'm not sure really what that timeline was, Rhea, as far as when did you go back to work for those 4 months? What year was that?
Oh gosh, that was, let's see, probably 2014, end of 2014, beginning of 2015.
Okay. So there's a couple points that I want to make here. I first started reaching out to Rhea in 2016. Okay. So I think it's really, really important for you to see that everybody gets to their level of readiness in their own timing, because based on all the things that Rhea just shared, like I didn't know all those things, first of all, but all those things that Rhea shared that was going on 2012, 2013, 2014, it was 2 years that she had then been at home. Because if you said that you were working that job going into Houston every day, driving an hour, and the kids were not at their best because you weren't there for those 4 months, that happened in 2014. There were 2 years that she decided to come home, be home, pick yourself up by your own bootstrap, be on a tight budget, not do all the things, because you all realize that you being home was more important than that additional income at the time.
Right.
With that being said, if Rhea had endured that life for 2 years, not a bad life, but not probably the life that you had imagined for you and your family, right? Then that means that when I started reaching out to Rhea, Rhea wasn't ready. Rhea wasn't ready in 2016. Rhea wasn't ready in 2017. Rhea wasn't ready in 2018. Rhea didn't get ready until July 15, 2019. So a large part of the reason why I wanted to do this call and Rhea wanted to do this call is to help you guys to see that the Lord places people on your heart for a reason. Okay. I didn't know the reasons. I didn't know. All I knew was that I knew Rhea, I knew her character, I knew her personality, I knew she would be great at this. And I knew that no matter what she had going on in her life, if she caught the vision of this, because what I do know about stay-at-home moms is most stay-at-home moms want to be at home. That's why they chose to be at home, right? They're not at home just because someone's holding them back from going to work. Most of the time they want to be more present for their kids. At the same time, a lot of women that I personally know, they do love being home with their kids and they love being the primary caregiver and not putting that in the hands of someone else. But I also know that a lot of people that I know that have college degrees, that have masters, that had professions, they also like having a purpose outside of just being a mom.
Yes.
Okay.
Amen.
So that was a big part of why I felt this nudge. And I do believe that it was the Holy Spirit that kept me reaching out to her, because I didn't know all of those things about Rhea, but it was the Holy Spirit that was telling me, just keep reaching out, just keep reaching out. So I'm going to share with you guys a couple of screenshots. There are a ton because like I said, there were 87 interactions that I had with Rhea between
Pull 'em up on my phone too.
2016. What'd you say?
I pulled them up on my phone too. I'm looking at them too, girl. I love it. I love it.
2016 and 2019 that I was trying to get Rhea to catch the vision of this opportunity. What I want to say though, I do want to correct something that was said in the other YouTube video because something that Rhea said wasn't quite accurate. So Rhea, you said that you got on the phone with me and you were really leery on getting on the phone with me, right? Because you were like, why is she going to be on the phone?
No, can't you text me? Like what?
Right. And so she did get on the phone with me, even though I could tell she thought it was kind of weird. She did get on the phone with me. We did end up having at least an hour-long conversation. I remember me sitting on my patio in my pool in my old house, and I was talking to her. We were just catching up, talking about life, and then I did share the business opportunity with her. And what Rhea said on the last video was, oh, bless her heart, like she really thought that I was going to do something, but I just became her customer. She did not become my customer. She didn't even become my customer then. You did nothing. You did nothing. You literally did nothing. For 2 more years. For 2 more years, you did nothing.
Serious? Wait,
No.
Okay. Okay. You're right.
Nothing. And I didn't want to, blow your little cover right there.
Right.
I was like, no.
I eventually became, but you're right. You're right.
Eventually. So no wonder you were saying bless her heart because you did nothing for 2 more years. For 2 more years. So my first interaction with Rhea about Plexus, I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to show y'all this, and y'all have to give me a little bit of grace because I clearly didn't know fully what I was doing back then. Can y'all see this? Okay.
Yep.
So I said this was back in, I don't know what date it was, but it was, I think it was February 2016.
It was February 22nd, 2016.
Okay, perfect. So I said, hey, Rhea, how are you? Thanks for liking my Plexus post last week. It's nice to have the support of my friends as you liking my post helps it to stay in more of my friends' newsfeed longer. I know this may seem strange, but you cross my mind pretty often because you would be absolutely perfect at this business. I know others might have come to you with these same thoughts, but Plexus is truly so different. I've been too chicken to reach out to you, and you may decide this isn't for you, and that's okay, but I'd love to set up some time simply to chat with you to talk about how these products and opportunity have completely changed my life and why I think you have all the awesome characteristics to be phenomenal at this. It's fine if you say no. All I ask is that you hear me out. I lost my dad so young to poor health and chronic stress that helping others improve their health and finances has become my passion project. Hold on. That is the first thing. Hold on. I don't even know how to move on to the next screen though. That's weird. Hold tight. Okay. I'm going to do this next one and screen share this. Okay. Do y'all see this? Let me know if you're open to chatting. Hope all is well with you and your beautiful family. Okay. I'll deconstruct that message in just a minute. Okay. So then Rhea responds as, hey, Robin, first of all, well, you can say it. What did you say?
Okay. Hey, Robin. So first of all, I'm seeing the 2 messages you sent me in 2012. Y'all, this is 4 years before. I was horrible with Facebook messages. Horrible. I don't think I even had the app on my phone.
That's a whole nother topic we need to discuss.
Yes,
so make sure we talk about that.
Yep. Okay. And feeling so crappy. I am terrible when it comes to checking Facebook messages. I have heard some about Plexus, but not completely clear about it. I've always thought that it was a diet pill, and being a fitness instructor, I've stayed away. But I must be honest in saying I know nothing about it.
Okay. And then I come in and say, hey, Rhea, girl, I totally understand. I'm horrible at checking messages while doing something else and then forget to respond. And then I say something about it's anything but a diet pill. So I'm kind of starting to educate her then at that point what it is. Okay. So there's lots more messages we could share with you, but that was my initial message to her. Okay. So just to kind of psychoanalyze that one message, looking back at it 4 years later, it wasn't the worst thing ever. I shared my heart in the message. It probably was a little too lengthy. I probably wouldn't send anything that lengthy, knowing what I know now. So that's just a tip. You don't want to write a dissertation to people. But whatever I did, it eventually worked. So, I guess it wasn't too terrible. But what I would say though, is when she responded to me and she said, oh my gosh, I just saw your message and I realized you talked to me in 2012. And it was like, it was about something else. It wasn't about Plexus. I wasn't doing Plexus in 2012. And she hadn't responded. The point there is that when Rhea reached out to me, that let me know, and she responded that way, that let me know, guys, there's lots of people that don't check Facebook Messenger.
Mhm.
So we've got to get out of our heads thinking why they didn't respond, or why haven't they looked at this, or what. There's lots of people that don't even have Messenger on their phone, right? So because we're building in a business that's through social media and the internet, we make a lot of assumptions about things that we've got to stop making assumptions about, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that aren't seeing our messages. They're not used to checking Messenger on a regular basis. And some people honestly don't have Messenger at all. So just keep that in mind as you're prospecting people and talking to people about Plexus, okay? Throughout the years, I would continue to reach out, follow up. If I would see, this is a couple more tips. I would see things that I thought would resonate with Rhea. So I might have seen a Diamond documentary. A Diamond documentary is a documentary that they make of the people that get to the highest level of our company. It's like an 8-minute movie about that person's journey. And so some documentaries I thought would resonate with her based on maybe her being really into fitness, or maybe her being a girl mom, or her having a daughter that struggled with some health issues. There's people that in Plexus, they had those same things that I thought would resonate with her. So I would send her documentaries, or I'd send her testimonials, or I would send her messages or things that I thought would resonate with her. Those are ways that I would follow up in those 87 interactions. Anytime there was a special, I would respond. I'd be like, hey, there's a special. Don't know if you're ready yet. And the great thing about Rhea is there were lots of times that she did not respond, but the times that she did respond, she really would be honest. She'd be like, girl, I just have too much going on right now. I'm not going to say yes to anything else, da, 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 da. And I just would gracefully meet her where she's at. And I'd be like, okay, I totally understand. And I would try to, sometimes, I don't know, Ray, if you remembered, I would push back a little bit sometimes. Like, but hey, you don't have to sign your life away. Like, you're just getting healthier and sharing with a few friends, I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely, because I was just looking for that. There was one time, girl, that you gave some good pushback. And I am going, in April 14th of 2016, you put, okay, I know you are active on Facebook and have seen my messages, girlfriend. We are better than that. Like, no, I was like, oh, okay. You're basically like, I know you're seeing this, because I know now that you're looking at Facebook messages, and I'm glad when you gave that pushback, I'm glad you did. I really am, because you stayed persistent, and with the follow-up, and the fortune is in the follow-up. But I remember when you sent that message, I remember thinking, like, I'm gonna be honest, my first reaction was, okay, chill out, Robin. Like, because I did have a lot going on, and Robin not knowing this. I mean, there's just other things that I won't even get into, but just I had so much going on, and we all do. We all, no one knows exactly what the other person, everything they have going on. But and I remember thinking, okay, like, give me a break. You're a mom too. Life is hectic. My thought was, wow, like, chill out a little bit, like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to survive life, because I was trying to survive life at this point. And while I was thinking that, y'all, and I don't think I replied like immediately. But I did say, actually, I hadn't seen your last 2 messages. I've gotten a ton of messages this week, and some other family stuff was going on, and I went into that. And I put, girl, just because you've seen me active doesn't mean I've seen everything. Trust me, I'm too scatterbrained to check and see everything. And that I'm glad we had that interaction, because, and I like to share that part, because that may have made any other people may have been like, okay, well, just, I gave her pushback, and she kind of replied with a little like, I have, don't check me. I'm like, actually I have. And it could have stopped right there. And I'm glad that it didn't. I'm glad that it didn't. I'm glad Robin realized that life is life. People are going through life, And it's really about timing and the right time.
Totally.
And when
Totally.
when it was the right time, if Robin hadn't continued to, I mean, and it wasn't like, she wasn't like messaging me every day, like stalker status, you know, about Plexus, but she did not just completely fall off of reaching out to me about Plexus. And when I was ready to do it, if she had completely fallen off after that pushback she gave me, that pushback I gave her, I wouldn't be here right now. And I'm so thankful for that. And so you have to understand that people, it's really all about timing. And I will continue following up with people too now, learning from that, you know, unless they're like, stop messaging me about this, I hate this, I hate you, go kick rocks, then I'll leave them alone. Okay. Then I will leave them alone.
But if they don't say that, then we continue to follow up.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Well, you know, I'm glad that you said that, because I want to give just a little bit of backdrop on why I sent the message that I sent, because I did, honestly, I felt like, man, I've messaged her multiple times. She's, you know how the little thing drops down, so you see the person who's opened the message, right? You know that they've seen the message. And so in my mind, I'm like, we're better than that. Like, she can respond. Like, you know, give me the common courtesy to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really sent the message to get a response from her. And guess what? It worked.
Mm-hmm.
I got a response,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I knew that I was being a little bit like pushy by saying that, but I meant to do that because I wanted to get a response from her. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew she was a big girl, so I knew it wasn't going to be like, you know, I'm talking to you anymore. You know, I knew she was probably going to give me a little pushback, which she did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back with grace. I think my response was, girl, I hope everything's okay with your family. Because she was saying something was going on with family too, or something.
Well, we had a death in the family, a very unexpected death of a young family member. I was also pregnant with my third child, and I had just been put on minimal bed rest. And then my oldest daughter was going through health issues, which we found out about a month. That was on April 14th. On May 6th, she had emergency brain surgery. So we didn't know that was going to happen on May 6th, but she was experiencing health problems with her hydrocephalus in the midst of all this. So I'm pregnant with my third child. We experienced a great loss in my family. I'm high risk because my oldest was born at 23 weeks because my placenta ruptured. My doctor's telling me to chill out, to calm down, you know, and my oldest is at Texas Children's weekly trying to figure out what's going on with her. Eventually we realized her shunt was malfunctioning, and she had fluid building up in her brain, and had emergency brain surgery like 2 weeks after this message. Which is, you know, and Robin didn't know that all this was going on. And yeah, that's what that was. So when I'm surprised I actually stopped and replied, to be honest with you, with all that, but I'm glad I did.
Well, I think because it was so like kind of alarming, the message, that is why you responded, you know, because I think ultimately, and that was why I did it, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because I think I knew your character, and I knew, well, she's a decent enough person that if she sees me saying that, I know that you see this, can you just respond, that it would garner a response from her, you know what I mean? And it did.
Yeah.
So yeah, lesson here, guys, is that the follow-up is so essential in your business. If you feel like the Lord has placed somebody on your heart, whether they need the products or the opportunity, and honest to goodness, most people are going to need both. It is just incredibly important that you don't give up on people. And I use that terminology because I can't tell you how many times Raya has said that to me. Robin, thank you for not giving up on me and not following up with me. I can't tell you how many people outside of Raya, thousands and thousands of people on our team later, that their lives have completely changed. If we had not continued to follow up and model that for the people on our team, then our teams wouldn't be doing that either, you know? So it's just really, really important that you see that you create a ripple effect of change, but you can only do that when you are so rock solid on your belief on why we do what we do, that you take yourself out of it. Because I could have gotten my feelings hurt every time she didn't respond, every time she ignored my message, every time I felt like she's just like blowing smoke now because she's told me no 10 times, or told me it's not the right time 10 times, it's not the right timing 10 times. I could have completely kind of gone into a shell and been like, she's never going to do this, and just kind of like forgotten about her.
Mhm.
But it's about your belief and what you're offering to people. And until they do exactly what Rhea said, say no, kick rocks, get lost,
Mhm.
you continue to do that follow up. And Rhea never did that. Rhea never said get lost. She never said, I'm not interested at all. Don't respond. Don't message me again. She never said that. So in my mind, it was always an open door. And so had I stopped, it would have been a huge mistake on both of our parts, because both of our lives would be so different. So
Amen.
do you have anything you want to add before we closed today?
I don't. I think that's great. I think I love it. I touched on everything that I wanted to touch on with the fortune being in the follow up.
Awesome. Awesome. So
Except for one thing, naturally.
what?
Naturally, I do want to say this. When I've learned from because of myself, when you see that picture of that little person on Facebook Messenger and you're like, oh, they've seen it, but they haven't replied, that not always, especially if you're a mom and your kids have your phone. Sometimes I have my phone, I'm looking at Facebook Messenger, I'll click on something, but I don't actually look at it, and I'm like, oh wait, that's not the message I was looking for. Let me go back. So this person thinks that I've read it. Yes, I may have clicked on it, or my child clicked on it, or somebody clicked on it to open up that message, and you think I've read it, but that does not equal have read it. So I've learned that too, that don't get up all in your feelings about that,
Exactly. The point of this is that it's not personal, y'all. I don't think it was ever personal with Rhea, ever. It was never personal. And I didn't take it personally. Had I taken it personally, I would not have done 87 interactions. I would not have made 87 attempts to connect with Rhea. And so you've got to take the emotion out of it, get off of the emotional roller coaster in this business. The more you have these ups and downs of emotions, the easier it is for you to find an excuse or a reason to say, this isn't for me, when it is for you. So with that being said, we're going to close out today. We always want to share with you guys, really one of the biggest motivations for doing this is really sharing our journey so that people can really understand how we can be a light and beacon of light and hope to others. So we always want to end with our scripture. One of our favorites is Hebrews 12:1-2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily ties and trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. You guys have a great rest of your day.
And until next time, y'all, God bless you, and remember to always run your best race.
Okay, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.